Welcome to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael M. Hotep. It is Monday, March 15th, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well today. Well, it's been a very, very busy day, kicking off on a Monday, and we're halfway through Women's History Month. Women's History Month follows African American History Month. And on today's show, we'll talk about an article that I posted on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. Posted it today. It's from thegrio.com. And this article talks about the performance, if you want to call it that Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion did at the Grammys on Sunday, March 14th, 2021. And they performed their hit WAP. You know, I've done an extensive broadcast dealing with that. We're going to re-air that broadcast, by the way. And W.A.P, they did a performance of WAP. It was censored. It had to be. But it was still hypersexualized. So the performances drawn some praise, and I read some of the comments about praising it, and really I have to question the mentality of some of the people who think this is acceptable, but it's drawn some criticism as well. So we're going to talk about that a little bit here. And what I'm going to do is I back in August of 2020, I did a panel discussion with 3 intelligent African-American women, 2 of them conscious hip-hop artists, Herb Alchemist and Heck of a Mecca. And then also activist Jade Arendelle was on the panel discussion as well. And we went through and broke down WAP, and we dealt with Women Are Priceless, and we dealt with negative corporate-controlled hip-hop. So I'm going to re-air that. And then also there's going to be a segment where I talk about Snoop Dogg in December 2020. Snoop Dogg came out and criticized the song and the video, but from the perspective of someone almost 50 years old who's been in the game like 30 years. So we'll talk about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and WAP at the Grammys. I did a Facebook post about this. We'll talk about that. Then we'll do with the Black Farmers. John Wesley Boyd Jr., president of the Black Farmers Association, is responding to Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Says Lindsey Graham must apologize for racist comment about subsidies kept from from farmers of color for years. So we'll share an interview that John Wesley Boyd Jr. did. There was also an article from rawstory.com. And then continuing our coverage dealing with the protests in Georgia around HB 531 and Senate bill, I think it's SB 241, the voter suppression bills that are being pushed through the state legislature in Georgia. Okay, we'll continue talking about that. And they discussed it today on Katie Tur's show on MSNBC. She had Insay from the New Georgia Project on. Really, really good interview. So we'll talk about that also. Okay, HB 531 and SB 241 in the Georgia State Legislature. So in this Facebook post that I did, I posted an article. Now it's already gotten over 1,600 likes on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network. It's gotten over 1,000 comments. And it's an article from thegrio.com, and it asked the question, was Grammys WAP performance too much for TV? Was Grammys WAP performance too much for TV? Yes, it was, but it's too much for video. It's too much for, we have a lot of work to do. That's all I can say. But here's what I said in my Facebook post. And I'll just, since we have screen share, we'll flip over and show it to you. And I'm going to re-air the panel discussion I did. And we're going to re-air that all throughout the week because we need it. Our people are confused. And only Negroes will tolerate some stuff like this also. No other ethnic group in America would tolerate some BS like this at the Grammys. So here's what I said. They will only allow Negroes to perform BS like this at the Grammys and dehumanize ourselves on the world stage. Do you remember when 3-6 Mafia performed It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp at the Oscars in 2006? They actually had dancers on stage portraying pimps and prostitutes. The most disrespected woman in America is the black woman. Hashtag wake up, hashtag women are priceless. So the griot asked the question, did they go too far, etc.? You know, we got 1,600 likes, over 1,000 comments. So if we look at this article, and I pulled it up here, and we'll do our regular intro here in just a minute, but I just want to jump into this and be done with it for the time being. I watched the performance at the Grammys. Wasn't as bad as the video. I mean, the video is horrific for WAP. The video is horrific. But we have to understand that we are being attacked on multiple levels. This is warfare that we are engaging in. We are being attacked on multiple levels, and we're being attacked through imagery and media. And if you do not understand European white supremacy and racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you think that you understand will totally confuse you, as Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and Nellie Fuller correctly taught us. And there's a reason why I'm wearing my shirt with African-American female legends on it. Because as I talked about, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, well, when Cicely Tyson passed away. Okay, when Cicely Tyson passed away, we did an entire show dedicated to Miss Cicely Tyson. And that was right around January 28th, 2021. And I said, if you remember, I said, I want to see a panel discussion. I want to see a conversation. I know it can't happen because these sisters are ancestors now. I said, but I want to see a conversation between Coretta Scott King, Dr. King's widow, Betty Shabazz, Malcolm X's widow, Marilee Everett Williams. I'm sorry, Betty Shabazz, Malcolm X's widow. Yeah, Marilee Everett Williams, Medgar Evers Williams, Medgar Evers' widow, Marilee Evers Williams, Betty Shabazz, Coretta Scott King, and Cicely Tyson. I want to see Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, and you could throw Sukihana in there because Sukihana, her CD is called W.A.P. Look it up. I want these 3 sisters to explain to these 4 elders their music, WAP and W.A.P. All that. I want them to explain to them this. I want to see that conversation. But so let's go to this here before we come up on a break very quickly, because I don't want to spend too much time on this. If we look at this article here from thegrio.com, WAP was Grammys WAP performance too much for TV? Okay, yes, it was, one. But one of the most important things they talk about in here, you scroll down to the bottom of the article, you get past them gyrating, humping each other, all that. That's a whole nother. This only Negroes are allowed to do something like that on television. I'm just telling you. Go. They have the video in here. You can go watch it from the Grammys. Okay. But the most important part of this article is at the end. The National Center, and I want to make sure people see this here. We're going to blow this up. The National Center on Sexual Exploitation was also critical of the sexually charged performance between the 2 rappers. Now, this is not an attack on Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. This is not an attack, even though they're participating in it. But the people in control are Europeans who allowed this to take place at the Grammys, but also those at Atlantic Records who financed the song WAP and financed the video. Okay, I broke all this stuff down in the panel discussion that I did. All right, so the focus of the attack is not Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, even though they participate in this. It's the people around them that control this, that greenlight this, that finance this, that market and finance a song promoting prostitution, and they use two women of African descent to promote this and market this to tens of millions of people. The National Center on Exploitation was also critical of the sexually charged performance between the two rap stars. The group issued a statement and declared that Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, quote, contributed to the sexual exploitation of women by glamorizing prostitution and stripping. This is what I said back in August, and people wanted to jump on me. This is what I said back in August. Now, this is the National Center of Sexual Exploitation saying this. Quote, CBS allowed a glamorization of stripping and prostitution to be broadcast in front of a national audience, a portion of which were children, for no other reason than ratings, said Dawn Hawkins, Senior Vice President and Executive Director of the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. She said in a statement, quote, despite the popularity of the song performed by Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, CBS should have never allowed this kind of explicit performance to happen at the Grammys. Quote, prostitution and stripping are never empowering for women as they set up systems that exploit and oppress women, the statement continued. Okay. Now, when we come back from the break, we'll talk a little bit about this, because when I dealt with this back in August, I tied this into the adultification bias that African-American girls suffer. And we tied this into a legacy of a sexual exploitation and hypersexualization as a legacy of slavery, targeting African-American women as well. All of this is connected. At the very same time, you've got something like 64,000 African-American women and girls who are abducted. And we know it's a huge problem with African-American women and girls being forced into human trafficking and prostitution. All of this is connected. You can't separate this. You're dealing with a system. All of this is connected. And we have to stop financing our own dehumanization. Only Negroes are allowed to dehumanize ourselves like this in front of the world. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes.
We all know the cannabis industry is headed toward an uprise in the past decade. What happens when there is a brand that brings this uprise in a blow? The cannabis industry welcomes her uprise. Hustle her hemp. Delivering excellence with pride is her watchword, and how you choose to embrace it makes it a priority. From cultivating rich cannabis into exquisite and tastefully finished CBD products to delivery, Hustle Her Hemp leaves no stone unturned. Hustle Her Hemp's mission is to empower women of color by building business and creating legacies, uniting beauty, health, and business. We are a pure definition of how we want the CBD industry to become in the future. While we are redefining innovation, we bring the same energy to improving the quality of life. Hustle Her Hemp is the new uprise.
Are you getting ready for fall or winter? We have the solution for all seasonal clothing needs. Comedicwear.com is the go-to online source for comedic African fashion and lifestyle products with a contemporary twist. We're committed to offering unique styles reflecting our African heritage. Comedicwear.com is inspired by ComedicScribes.com to influence our people in learning and showing pride. Please visit our website at comedicwear.com.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know we offer top nationwide high-speed internet service providers, voice over IP, and cellular phone services. Home users, don't miss our current in-stock Chromebook inventory. Please visit us at jcwcc.com or call 215-879-6701.
Digital Dandelion's Technical Solutions works with businesses like yours to create an operations manual for your business, which is something many businesses don't have. According to AARP, more than 30% of small business owners are over 50 years old. Many business owners want to retire by selling their businesses or by passing their businesses on to their children. However, according to Forbes Investment Advisors, many retiring owners' attempts to sell businesses for retirement fail. You cannot sell your business without a business manual. Your children also cannot inherit your business because there is no way to run it. Your business does not have to die when you leave. Their business Bible products will give you the tools you need for a thriving business that can make you money even after you retire. Are you looking at increasing your business's annual revenue? Digital Dandelions can help you make at least $100,000 in annual revenue and expand your business. Speak with them today about solidifying your business. Visit digitaldandelions.com today and get a free 30-minute consultation. All right, welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, March 15th, 2021. We are live. Calling number is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a quick question or comment. We've got 3 topics I'm going to try to squeeze in here into this hour. Right before the break, I was breaking down talking about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's performance of WAP at the Grammys. And I was also comparing that to back in 2006 when 3 6 Mafia performed his Hard Out Here for a Pimp at the Oscars. And in the Facebook post that I did today, I also put the link to 3 6 Mafia's performance at the Oscars. It's on YouTube. They actually had dancers portraying pimps and prostitutes on stage at the Oscars in 2006. Only Negroes were allowed to do stuff like this. Why is that? Why is that? The reason why is because you only protect what you respect. You only protect what you respect. Since we are not respected, we're allowed to be dehumanized like that. Nobody else would allow themselves to be portrayed like that and dehumanized like that. And then try to justify it. It doesn't happen. So to make a long story short, because we're going to re-air the broadcast, we're going to get deep into this. I'm going to put all this stuff together. Right before the break, we were talking about this article from the Griot, and the National Center on Exploitation has put out a statement about this performance at the Grammys. Okay. Now, what we're going to have to do, and I talked about this when I was on Roland Martin's show Friday, March 12th, because I'm a panelist every Friday on Roland Martin Unfiltered. I talked about this on my show Sunday, the March 14th show. Go watch that show that I did Sunday, March 14th, 2021, the African History Network show. What's taking place in Georgia and the call from Black Voters Matter and New Georgia Project to put economic pressure on corporations to stop the voter suppression bills in the state legislature in Georgia, we're gonna have to do the same thing when it comes to companies that put out negative corporate control hip hop. We're gonna have to redistribute the pain through economic withdrawal and put economic pressure on them. This is what people do who respect themselves. They don't finance their own dehumanization. We're the only people who do things like that. We finance our own dehumanization and then try to justify it. No, other people don't do that. So right before the break, I shared this excerpt of the article from Negroes.com that is a statement from the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. And when I did the panel discussion with the sisters back in August 2020, discussing WAP, I tied all this into the sexual exploitation and dehumanization of African American women. So let me just highlight a couple things here. First of all, like I said before, my main criticism is not with Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B, even though there is some. The majority of it is with the powers around them that are largely white. Atlantic Records, now CBS, because they do a dry run of those performances. They do a rehearsal of those performances, so they knew what was coming. But first of all, when we look at the song, it samples Frank Ski's "There's Some Whores in This House" from the 1980s. There's some whores in this house. So you hear that repeatedly throughout the song. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. Right there, that's dehumanizing. And there's normalizing this objectification and dehumanization. Now, when you watch the video, all the women in the video are of African descent except Kylie Jenner. She's white. You know something interesting that happened? White people did an online petition demanding that Kylie Jenner be removed from the video. White people put together an online petition. They got thousands of people. I forgot exactly how many people signed this petition. They wanted Kylie Jenner digitally removed from the video. They didn't say just destroy the video. We don't want to see it. No, what they said was, we want Kylie Jenner out the video. Why? Because you only protect what you respect. They had enough respect for Kylie Jenner. Basically what they're saying is, look, white woman, this is for those Negroes. You let them do this. You have no business being in that video with those Negroes. We want to rescue you from this. We want you digitally removed from this and let those Negroes do that. That's basically what they're saying. You only protect what you respect. So the song was released August 7th, 2020. It was viewed over 26.6 million times in the first 24 hours on Cardi B's YouTube channel alone. It was viewed 26.6 million times in 24 hours on Cardi B's YouTube channel alone. Now, I know there are people going to say, well, they had blues songs back in the 30s and 40s that were sexually explicit. Oh, that's before TVs were in the home. Negro, don't come at me with no Simple Simon ass BS like that. You don't understand the warfare we're against. We've never had this much access to so much information and media that is detrimental to our existence. This is unfettered access. Some people may say, we had a 2 Live crew in the early 90s and things like this. Oh, you mean before YouTube existed? YouTube wasn't created till 2005. You mean before there were digital downloads? People didn't even have high-speed internet in the early 1990s. This is something on a whole nother level of warfare. We were still going to the record stores in the 90s. I got the 2 Live crew in crates and in boxes here on CD. We were still going to the record stores. Now you can access this. You don't even have to buy it. You can go just on YouTube and watch all this stuff. Unrestricted. There's never been a time when the warfare has been this great. Everybody got smartphones and dumber than ever. Imagine that. So let me try to make this long story short. So the post that I did back in August on Facebook, and I got some criticism. Some people agree with me. Some people attack me. Some people are unfriended. Whatever. I said, why is thought culture and stripper music being targeted to African Americans, especially African American girls? The hypersexualization of African Americans goes back to slavery, when orchestrated sexual assault took place to produce children for slave masters to enrich them. The sexuality. Now, I'm not against women being sensual and all that stuff. I'm not against that at all. I'm not against sex. Everybody know I ain't against sex. Hey, nobody loves a WAP more than I do. But damn, I understand warfare at the same time. I understand you got to have some sense on what you project to the world and the images you allow of yourself to be projected. So I said the hypersexualization of African Americans goes back to slavery, when orchestrated sexual assault took place to produce children for slave masters to enrich them. Who is really making money off the sexual exploitation of African American women today? Now, I'm against all the misogynistic songs by male hip hop artists, things like that. I've dealt with that before. I've been doing radio 11 years. If you just saw me today, well, damn, where you been? I've dealt with all that stuff before. Rick Ross and Lil Wayne, all that. I've dealt with all that. But even those videos weren't viewed 26 million times in 24 hours on one YouTube channel. I said, we can also talk about the exploitation of African American men. I said this in my post back in August. Then I referenced Stephanie E. Jones Rogers. Stephanie E. Jones Rogers is a professor in California, college professor in California. She wrote a book called They Were Her Property. They Were Her Property. The book deals with how almost 40% of almost 40% of the slaves owned in 1850 were owned by white women. And because historically, we were taught that white women had very little involvement in general in the enslavement and owning of African Americans, things like that. Yes, there were white women who were abolitionists. That is true. But Stephanie E. Jones Rogers in the book, They Were Her Property, deals more based upon like new research and Census Bureau data. She talks more about the role that white women had in perpetuating slavery and owning slaves, but also in what she calls orchestrated sexual assault. Orchestrated sexual assault on both men and women. And what I mean by that is, so when you have African American women in slavery who were breeders or forced to breed, forced to have children, etc., not just to enrich the slave master and produce more children, but also to be wet nurses when you had a white woman who became pregnant. Because you had a lot of African American women who were forced to be wet nurses because the white women didn't want to breastfeed their babies. So you need an African American woman to breastfeed. Well, if you don't have any who are pregnant, how are they going to breastfeed? If they are not pregnant or haven't been recently pregnant and are not lactating, then what you going to do? You're going to put one together with a male slave and force them to have sex so she can get pregnant, so she can then be a wet nurse for you. So Professor Stephanie E. Jones Rogers is breaking down this orchestrated sexual assault. And the legacy of that is a hypersexualization of African American women. So much so when you go study this history, even after slavery ended, there was like this unwritten rule that you couldn't rape a black woman. because she wasn't put on a level high enough to be respected. You only protect what you respect. So as I broke down in the original broadcast, the panel discussion, and we're going to re-air that once again. My two main criticisms, this is more, but let's keep it short. My main critique and criticism, not specifically of Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, but they do participate and they do profit. How much money have they made from this prostitution music? Just the song. I wonder. The main criticism against negative corporate controlled hip hop, funded by white corporations targeting African Americans with destructive messages, specifically Atlantic Records. This video and song promotes prostitution and has the sample, "There's some whores in this house." It takes place in a mansion, and almost all the women in the house are African American. One could look at the mansion as a whorehouse. Could do that. We have a white corporation, Atlantic Records, financing a music video that promotes prostitution while calling black women H's, calling them whores. They are marketing this message through social media and using two African American women to push this message, while at the same time we have a big problem with black women and girls being victims of human trafficking. I'm not blaming Cardi B and Megan because I think they are being used, but Atlantic Records knows better. How do we know they know better? Every white corporation that puts out music knows better. How do we know they know better? What white female artists do they have with lyrics as explicit as the ones from Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion? And which ones do they have with music videos like that? Even when you look at Ariana Grande and her song, I think it's Up. What's the song? Ariana Grande. A new song with she has Megan Thee Stallion and Doja Cat. Even that song, when you look at the lyrics, the most graphic lyrics are from Megan Thee Stallion, and it's not even her song. So you have to sit back and do a systems analysis as opposed to suffering from a paralysis of analysis. And ask yourself the question, what the hell is really going on? But they will never allow a top white female artist like a Taylor Swift to do something like this. Why? Because they have too much respect and they understand how detrimental it would be for their listening audience and their fans. So they allow Negroes to do that. And we sit back and justify our own dehumanization. So I said, let me see let me make sure I got this. I think that's the right one from Up All Night. Up All Night, Ariana Grande. Go watch that video. It's on YouTube with all the other videos. Go look at the lyrics. The most explicit lyrics are from Megan Thee Stallion. So you have to ask yourself the question, why is it that African Americans are the ones to be the most graphic, the most explicit, the most sexually explicit, to do the most extreme? Why are we allowed to do that? Why are other people protected when we're disrespected? Because you only protect what you respect. So now I've been critical about explicit lyrics for men and the exploitation of women in male videos, and we have to deal with the similar things in some of the female videos, even though this one had no men in it. There's no men in the music video WAP. And also in the video, they're referring to men as the N-word, which is dehumanizing. And I've said this before, if you think the N-word is a term of endearment, that means you're in an abusive relationship. You need to get out. If you think the N-word is a term of endearment, then you are in an abusive relationship and you need to get out. That's ridiculous. All right. That's enough. So you'll see the rest when I air the full panel discussion I did with the sisters And then I did commentary about Snoop Dogg's comments as well. But we can't allow stuff like this to happen. See, other people would have had, there may be some pressure put on corporations that advertise on the Grammys. The Center for Sexual Exploitation, the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, is already criticizing CBS. I wonder if the NAACP is going to criticize CBS, or is the NAACP going to give Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B a damn image award? If you do, what image are they promoting? Because you gave image awards to the TV show Empire. Now, there are positive things that the NAACP does. I report on that here. But look, let's look at something here. If you go back to February 8th, 1915, when the movie The Birth of a Nation came out, The Birth of a Nation was one of the most dangerous movies that ever came out of Hollywood, or some people will call it Hollyweird. Directed by D.W. Griffith, the movie cost $100,000 to make. The movie, the first 30 days, the movie The Birth of a Nation was out. It was called The Klansman. Why? Because that's the name of the novel that the movie was based upon. The movie was based upon a novel by a man named Reverend Thomas Dixon called The Klansman. And the movie glamorized the Ku Klux Klan and actually rejuvenated the Ku Klux Klan because the Klan had largely died out by 1915. The Klan was founded December 24th, 1865 in Pulaski, Tennessee. This is 50 years later. It had largely died out by then. It's going to be rejuvenated by a man named Reverend William Joseph Simmons in October of 1915. The movie The Birth of a Nation takes place during slavery, the Civil War, and Reconstruction. And it shows the Ku Klux Klan as being the heroes of the movie and putting down a rebellion of former Union Negro soldiers after the Civil War ends after the Civil War ends. This is during the Reconstruction era. This takes place in South Carolina. South Carolina is where the Civil War started, April 12, 1861. South Carolina was the first state to secede from the Union, December 20th, 1860, 6 weeks after Abraham Lincoln became president-elect. Because South Carolina thought that Lincoln was going to free the slaves. And then you're going to have other states that secede from the Union in the subsequent months. And then you're going to have the Civil War starts with the attack on Fort Sumter in South Carolina, April 12, 1861. So in the movie, The Birth of a Nation, they show basically all of the characters that were African American were white people in blackface. Number one. Number two, they show black men trying to rape white virgins in the movie. This is in 1915. Go research this movie. I've dealt with this extensively in my presentations. This movie caused race riots in the streets. The NAACP launched boycotts against the movie because they had some damn sense. Charlotta Bass, who was the publisher of the California Eagle out in California, she's going to lead protests against the movie. William Monroe Trotter in Boston, he's going to lead protests against the movie. If you go back to 1906, before it was a movie, it was a play. In Philadelphia in 1906, you had about 3,000 African Americans protesting against the movie because they're lynching us in the streets. We understand there's a direct correlation between the imagery that is shown of us and the way we're treated. There's a direct correlation between that. Whatever's disseminated becomes imitated. All you got to do is look at the lies and the information and the tweets that Donald Trump was putting out, and then look at what happened January 6th. There's a direct correlation. Whatever's disseminated becomes imitated. Your thoughts create feelings. Your feelings create actions and behaviors. Your actions and behaviors create results. My background is in marketing. I'm looking at this stuff. They're marketing our dehumanization and setting us up for destruction. And we're sitting here justifying this BS. We had better sense 50 years after slavery than many of us do today. Because they were lynching us in the streets, and we saw this imagery in the movies, and we said, no, we can't let that happen. The same NAACP back in 1915 that protested against the movie The Birth of a Nation, today in the last few years, gave image awards to the TV show Empire, which is like today's version of The Birth of a Nation. It's even worse than Amos and Andy. Because at least when Amos and Andy was on in the 50s, NAACP protested against Amos and Andy. So my question is, okay, you gonna give image awards to WAP? You gonna give image awards to Cardi B? I'm just curious. I just want to know. All right, so let me see here. Okay, somebody sent me a text message. All right, okay, so let's leave it there for that. Let's go to this next. I may have to do another panel discussion on this. I don't know. I just sit back and I just listen to some of the excuses some of us make. Some of our people get it. Let me show you this quickly here before we run out of time on 19 AM Superstation. So back when Cicely Tyson passed away, I did a 2-hour show dealing with Cicely Tyson. We're gonna re-air that again. We're gonna have African History Network show Greatest Hits. All right. Let me show you something here about this sister Cicely Tyson that passed away age 96. All right. And was the victim of an attempted sexual assault. The victim of an attempted sexual assault. And we have to look at the correlation between stripper culture and stripper culture being infused into negative corporate controlled hip hop. All right. We have to tie all this together. And there was a note that I made here because unfortunately I watched the performance before coming on the air. I watched the performance at the Grammys. Okay. It wasn't as bad as the video, but damn, this is what y'all had to do. You had a big oversized glass high heel shoe. That's what strippers wear. What the hell y'all doing? Then you had one woman in like a glass cube and there's money floating all around in there. This is at the Grammys. This is what y'all do at the Grammys. You only allow Negroes to do this. So read the article from the WAP. Go watch if you want to waste 4 minutes of your damn time. Go watch that performance. But two quick things I want to hit on here. If we look at this article here from New York Times, and there were others. We know Gayle King interviewed Cicely Tyson a few days before she passed away. But I want to focus on something here. Cicely Tyson, an actress who shattered stereotypes, died in 96. In a remarkable career of many decades, she refused to take parts that demeaned Black people and won a Tony, Emmys, and an honorary Oscar. Oh, so you mean she won awards and she didn't have to dehumanize her people and herself? That's what you mean? She won a Tony, an Emmy, and an honorary. She never won an Oscar. She got an honorary Oscar. But she refused to dehumanize herself. Huh. Interesting. So if we look at this, and I went through, and I want to find this here. Where was this? In a remarkable career, she was critical. Okay. In a remarkable career of 7 decades, Cicely Tyson broke ground for serious Black actors by refusing to take parts that demean Black people. She urged Black colleagues to do the same and often went without work. Hold on, wait a second. You mean she put principle over profit? She refused to dehumanize herself and allow herself to be prostituted for personal gain? Is that what you mean? She urged Black colleagues to do the same and often went without work. She was critical of films and television programs that cast Black characters as criminals, servile, or immoral, and insisted that African Americans, even if poor or downtrodden, could be portrayed with dignity. Like she portrayed an African American female sharecropper in the movie Sounder. Okay, now there was another portion here that I wanted to hit on. Let me see, where is this? It was the actual quote from her. Let me try to find that. But it was one where she said that she would rather starve. Oh, here we go. But she was adamant about dramatic roles. Quote, "We black actresses," now this is Cicely Tyson talking, "we black actresses have played so many prostitutes, and drug addicts and housemaids, always negative," she told Parade magazine in 1972. "I won't play that kind of characterless role anymore, even if I have to go back to starving. I won't play that kind of characterless role anymore, even if I have to go back to starving." It's one thing I could say about Cicely Tyson. It was a number of things I could say, all good. And I can't remember anybody that really said anything negative about Cicely Tyson. But I don't ever, all the roles she played, Miss Jane Pittman, she portrayed Coretta Scott King, she portrayed Kunta Kinte's mother in Africa in Roots. That's Cicely Tyson. Okay, she portrayed Marva Collins in the Marva Collins story. Marva Collins was a fantastic educator, African American female educator. I can never remember a role that she portrayed that made us feel embarrassed to be black. All the roles that she portrayed made us proud. Okay. So let's look at, okay, so we've got that. There was an article from Huffington Post, HuffingtonPost.com. Okay. And I talked about this when this article came out in 2017. I've done a number of different, I've talked about this a number of different times in my lectures, and I've done lectures dealing with the media's deliberate destruction of the African American family and the effect that imagery has on us, etc. Because I have a background in marketing. I've been studying this for 30 years. Black girls are viewed as less innocent than white girls starting at age 5. This deals with the adultification of black girls. All this is connected. There's a reason why when I was doing research dealing with R. Kelly, and I was coming across studies saying that one study showed 40% of African American women have been molested or sexually abused by age 18. Another study says 60% of African American women have been sexually molested or abused by age 18. There's a reason for this. Malcolm X said the most disrespected woman in America is the black woman. That's a legacy of slavery. But if we look quickly at this here, it talks about that this is a study from Georgetown University. Georgetown University's Center for Law and Poverty. Okay, Georgetown University Center for Law and Poverty. The name of the study is Girlhood Interrupted. Girlhood Interrupted, the erasure of black girls' childhood. This study shows that society's perception of black girls leads to their adultification. The report shows that adults believe that black girls seem older than white girls of the same age and think that black girls need less nurturing, less protection, less support and comfort than white girls. It also found, wait for it, it also found that people assume that black girls are more independent and know more about adult topics and know more about sex than white girls. Where the hell they get something like that from? Maybe it's the images and the hypersexualization of African American women that is historic, that keeps being perpetuated. But now we got Negroes perpetuating this BS and trying to justify it. But you only protect what you respect. Your thoughts create feelings, your feelings create actions and behaviors, your actions and behaviors create results. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you've been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. We're out of time here on 910 AM Superstation WFDF. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching. We're going to go for a little while longer. I'm going to try to squeeze in these other two topics, and I got to get the hell out of here. Really, I do. We'll talk about this some more on our Tuesday show. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. If you like, and Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, if you'd like this type of information, you can support the African History Network. $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App. Be sure to type in $ the AHN show, SHOW, through Cash App, through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show, and at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also, it's important to understand, Cardi B used to be a stripper. She's talked about this before, but, yeah. Okay. Right now, it's correct. Wrong behavior is not over till we win Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. All right, stand by, everybody. Okay, so let me try to squeeze in some of this other stuff here.
With blackbusinesstee.com, the messages are clear and meaningful. Keep your business in the black and out of the red. Mind your black business. Know your numbers and plan strategically. Black Business Boss, lead your industry. Support black business, encourage, patronize, and uplift one another. BlackBusinessTea.com currently has products sold in Detroit, Atlanta, Chicago, and Los Angeles, with proceeds returned to the black community. They have a wide selection of hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, hats, sweatshirts that support black-owned businesses. Visit the website blackbusinesstee.com. That's blackbusinesstee.com. For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid Al Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com.
Digital Dandelion's Technical Solutions works with businesses like yours to create an operations manual for your business, which is something many businesses don't have. According to AARP, more than 30% of small business owners are over 50 years old. Many business owners want to retire by selling their businesses or by passing their businesses on to their children. However, according to Forbes Investment Advisors, many retiring owners' attempts to sell their business for retirement fail. You cannot sell your business without a business manual. Your children also cannot inherit your business because there is no way to run it. Your business does not have to die when you leave. Their business Bible products will give you the tools you need for a thriving business that can make you money even after you retire. Are you looking at increasing your business's annual revenue? Digital Dandelions can help you make at least $100,000 in annual revenue and expand your business. Speak with them today about solidifying your business. Visit digitaldandelions.com today and get a free 30-minute consultation.
We all know the cannabis industry is headed toward an uprise in the past decade. What happens when there is a brand that brings this uprise in a blow? The cannabis industry welcomes her uprise. Hustle her hemp. Delivering excellence with pride is her watchword, and how you choose to embrace it makes it a priority. From cultivating rich cannabis into exquisite and tastefully finished CBD products to delivery, Hustler Hemp leaves no stone unturned. Hustle Her Hemp's mission is to empower women of color by building business and creating legacies, uniting beauty, health, and business. We are a pure definition of how we want the CBD industry to become in the future. While we are redefining innovation, we bring the same energy to improving the quality of life. Hustle Her Hemp is the new uprise.
What time? How are we on time? All right. So, switching gears here. Also, the online course that I teach, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa. I forgot to even talk about that. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach in school. I teach that class on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So next class is Tuesday, March 16th. Okay, we deal with thousands of years of history, and we deal with what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors. I do the class live. All the sessions are recorded. You can go back and watch it over and over again. So here's the link here, and it's also at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Here's the link. As soon as you register, you can start watching last week's class. The class is regularly $130. It's on sale $80. You can watch the sessions over and over again. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have video clips, book references. It's about 50 articles that I reference. We deal with thousands of years of history. You can ask questions during the class. We have a live text chat. So 2 weeks ago, my guest speaker in the class was Dr. David M. Hotep, author of the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. He's a good friend of mine, and I've interviewed him a number of times. He was our guest speaker in the class a couple of weeks ago. A week before that, our guest speaker was Sister Nubia Wardford, who's a cultural anthropologist. We dealt with the origins of ancient Kush and African queens of antiquity. Okay, so right now we're on the this part dealing with the history of the Moors in Europe and what they brought into Europe. So next class Tuesday, March 16th, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also, I'll post a link here so you can register for that. Okay. All right. I want to jump into the story here dealing with the black farmers quickly. And then I've got a lot of work to do. Okay. So I've been talking about for the past few months the plight of African American farmers, and even going back a couple of years ago, dealing with black farmers suing the Stein Seed Company, alleged in Memphis, alleging that they were sold defective soybean seeds as a plot to steal their land. Okay, so dealing with the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. You know, there's $10.4 billion in the plan, in the bill, that is targeted towards farmers, and $5 billion of that is targeted towards African American farmers. So we've talked about that here on the show. Well, Senator Lindsey Graham has lashed out at the $5 billion going to African American farmers. This is after almost a century of racism and discrimination coming from the U.S. Department of Agriculture and African American farmers being locked out of government loans. Okay. So John Wesley Boyd Jr., who is the president of the Black Farmers Association, he's calling for Lindsey Graham to give an apology for racist comment about subsidies kept from farmers of color for years. Okay. So I want to go to this story. We played this on our Sunday show just to set all this stuff up. I want to go to this segment from Cross Connection with Tiffany Cross on MSNBC, where she talks about Lindsey Graham. She talks about Lindsey Graham and the African American farmers, and she gives Lindsey Graham a history lesson of discrimination that African American farmers have faced, and then she ties that into the Elaine, Arkansas race riot of 1919. Okay, let me cue this up here. Okay, let me cue up this Just a second, we'll get that going. But if we look at this article, John Boyd Jr., president of the National Black Farmers Association, called Senator Lindsey Graham out for his claim that subsidies for the community for black farmers are nothing more than reparations. This is what Lindsey Graham said. Now, keep in mind, Lindsey Graham is a Republican from South Carolina. South Carolina is where the Civil War started. Okay? South Carolina is where the Civil War started, one, and the farmers do deserve reparations, and African Americans do deserve reparations. This is not it. This is not reparations, okay? But let's go to this clip here. I want you to hear this.
Okay, so Ron Johnson isn't the only person talking crazy this week. This week, your boy, Senator Lindsey Graham, a habitual line crosser and Donald Trump's Theon Greyjoy, yet again stepped out of pocket. I'll tell you how in a minute, but before I get into that, travel back in time with me to Elaine, Arkansas, during the bloody summer of 1919. In this small town on the Mississippi River, black sharecroppers were being shaken down by white landowners. Each season, the landowners would demand obscene percentages of the profits, and they would never present the sharecroppers detailed accounting and would trap them with alleged cooked-up debts. So the black folks knew joining a union would be their only way to survive it. It was the evening of September 30th when the sharecroppers and their families gathered in Hoops Bowl Church to discuss joining the Progressive Farmers and Household Union. They also aimed to buy the land they worked and had planned to hire a white lawyer to represent them with the landlords. But news of their plans leaked. At around 11 p.m., a group of local white men, some of whom were likely affiliated with law enforcement, fired shots into the church. With their wives and children inside, black men like these, later dubbed the Elaine 12, were not just going to lay down and die. They returned fire, and a white man was killed. So then rumors that organized insurrection against white residents rapidly spread across town. The governor at the time called for 500 soldiers to round up the heavily armed Negroes, he called them. The troops, along with white vigilantes, were under orders to shoot and kill any Negro who refused to surrender immediately. But obviously no one was ever given an opportunity to surrender, which, let's keep it real, would of course meant death anyway. So for 5 days, they embarked on a killing spree, hunting black people within a 200-mile radius. By the time the chaos ended, the white mob had murdered more than 200 African Americans indiscriminately. Men, women, and children were all slaughtered. Not one white person was ever held accountable for any of those deaths. Today, Elaine is a majority black town where many of the residents live below the poverty line. So you can imagine how infuriating it might be to hear Lindsey Graham say this about a small portion of the COVID relief bill that provides a $5 billion fund for disadvantaged farmers, about a quarter of whom happen to be black.
Let me give you an example of something that really bothers me. In this bill, if you're a farmer, your loan will be forgiven up to 120% of your loan, not 100%, but 120% of your loan if you're socially disadvantaged, if you're African American, some other minority. But if you're white person, if you're a white woman, no forgiveness as reparations. What does that got to do with COVID?
This debt relief will begin to rectify decades of broken promises and discrimination from the USDA that caused black farmers to lose roughly 90% of their land between 1910 and today. So call it whatever you like, Lindsey. Not everyone is designed to keep eating fertilizer from the people who so publicly disrespect them. We leave that to you. But just so you know, this money falls way short of reparations, because black farmers damn sure deserve better, way better than what this country has given them.
Okay, so that was Tiffany Cross from Cross Connection. That was from, I think that was March 13th. What date was that? Yeah, Saturday, March 13th, 2021. She has a good show on MSNBC Saturday mornings. All right, now, I've talked about John Wesley Boyd Jr. We've been covering this here, dealing with the black farmers. Also, read this article dealing with the Elaine, Arkansas race riot in 1919. This is a good article from SmithsonianMag.com, official website of the Smithsonian Institute, SmithsonianMag.com. The massacre of black sharecroppers that led the Supreme Court to curb the racial disparities of the justice system. Okay, I've talked about the Elaine, Arkansas race riot of 1919 a number of times. We'll probably talk about this some more. This particular case, we'll probably talk about this some more one day this week. But I want to go to, if we look at the article here from the Griot, there was one from the Griot from April Ryan. Black farmers to receive $5 billion in COVID bill. Let's pull this up quickly. And you've heard me talk about this a number of times. And even a few weeks ago, we dealt with the Justice and Policing Act. Okay. The Justice and Policing Act, which was sponsored by Reverend Raphael Warnock and Senator Cory Booker. Okay. In the Senate, the Justice for Black Farmers Act, I should say, the Justice for Black Farmers Act. Okay. So if we look at this article here from April Ryan, for the Griot, black farmers to receive $5 billion in COVID relief bill. And she interviewed John Wesley Boyd Jr. in this article, okay? And it talks about President Joe Biden's allocation of $5 billion in the American Rescue Plan has Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina upset. Overall, the $10.4 billion is earmarked for the nation's farmers, and half of that is going to black farmers. John Boyd, head of the National Black Farmers Association, says those billions are needed to help sustain and revive a dying industry. John Wesley Boyd Jr. acknowledges, quote, we're quite frankly faced with extinction. We're quite frankly faced with extinction. If we can't get a new generation of young people involved in agriculture and farming, blacks and other farmers of color into farming, you won't see it. Okay. And then the article talks about how African-American farmers have lost about 90% of their farms over the past century or so. Counting the number of black farmers in the nation, in this nation currently, he says there are 46,000 black farmers are left in this country, according to the U.S. Census. We're down from 1 million farm families at the turn of the century. And we were killing we owned close to 20 million acres of land. We're down to about 4.5 million acres of land. And then it talks about the lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the history of us being locked out of many loans from the federal government. Okay. Now, John Boyd Jr. was interviewed on Politics Nation by Reverend Al Sharpton on Saturday. I think that was Saturday, March 13th also, or Sunday, March 14th. And he's responding to Lindsey Graham, and he's calling for Lindsey Graham to give an apology, and he's dealing with some of this history also of discrimination. Okay, let's go to this clip.
COVID relief package. President's newly passed COVID relief package aims to correcting a historic wrong, allocating $5 billion with a B dollars in aid to the nation's black farmers, who have seen nearly all of their farmland lost over the last century, having been largely shut out of federal programs that benefited their white peers. But rather than view their aid as helping a historically disenfranchised group, Republicans have, of course, called it racist and tagged it with that other R word, reparations. Joining me now, John Boyd Jr., founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association. Mr. Boyd, as you just read from my intro, I want to reiterate that since 1910, black farmers have lost 90% of their land, some 12 million acres, largely due to systematic racism For our viewers, what does that discrimination look like, specifically where banking and access to federal aid are concerned? You and I have talked about this for years. You've been on the forefront of it. Explain what has happened historically and why this means something.
Well, Reverend Sharpton, thank you for having me. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for helping me with the Claims Remedy Act of 2010 that helped nearly 20,000 black farmers receive their settlement from the United States Department of Agriculture. But what this new measure does is it rectifies a wrong for black and other farmers of color. We've been totally shut out of the U.S. Farm Subsidy Program, U.S. Farm lending at the United States Department of Agriculture, rural development loans. We've been totally shut out. And under the last administration, Reverend Sharpton, they sold out $29 billion to primarily white farmers in this country, where black farmers didn't participate at all. And when we put this bill in a part of the COVID relief bill, 10 senators sponsored amendments to pull our language out. And Senator Lindsey Graham, who is a very outspoken critic, said it really bothered him that we were a part of the spending bill. So we've been having an uphill battle for decades, and we've been fighting this fight for a very, very long time, and now's the time to change it. And right now, Reverend Sharpton, for the first time in history, we have a black in the Ag Committee, Chairman Scott. We have 2 blacks on the Senate Agriculture Committee, Senator Warnock and Senator Booker. And we have a president and vice president that certainly want to help and receptive to helping our nation's black farmers.
Now, let me go back to what you said, because as expected, the assistance to black farmers contained in the president's relief package has been attacked as racially discriminatory, perhaps the most vocal detractor being, as you mentioned, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, who has called the aid reparations. Just listen to this.
In this bill, if you're a farmer, your loan will be forgiven up to 120% of your loan, not 100%, but 120% of your loan if you're socially disadvantaged, if you're African American, some other minority. But if you're white person, if you're a white woman, no forgiveness as reparations.
Now, clearly he has no problem with or interest in fixing the systemic discrimination that black farmers have faced for decades. But that's to be expected. What are your thoughts on the senator's complaints, though, Mr. Boyd?
Well, I'll tell you, Reverend Sharpton, I lobbied Senator Lindsey Graham as a congressman. I lobbied him as a senator. I've been by his office and asked him to help me fix the problems at the United States Department of Agriculture that caused black farmers to lose millions of acres of land and address the lack of loans and subsidies. And he's never once used his megaphone to speak out against the discrimination. But as soon as we get justice here some 30 years later, his very first words, he said he found it troubling. And in his last part of his statement, he said, well, we need to check them. He should have checked in us when we came by his office to ask him to help fix the problems at the United States Department of Agriculture. He should have been checking us when we were sharecroppers and survived by Jim Crow. Members of Congress like Senator Lindsey Graham should have been checking us. So I find his comments racist, and we're calling on him. The National Black Farmers Association is calling for him to apologize, Senator Lindsey Graham, and we're making that announcement on your show. He needs to apologize not only to black farmers, but to black people in this country who struggled for so very, very long, and now we get a chance for a little bit of justice. And he uses his megaphone to play this race type thing when he knows firsthand that black farmers have suffered. When he has 6,000 black farmers in his state, and he won't help us, but he uses his megaphone to try to deny payment from black farmers.
You know, a century ago, there were 1 million black farmers. Now there are fewer than 50,000. According to the Department of Agriculture, Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack says he's aware of the disparity and wants to grow more farmers of color. Apart from this relief package, where should he start?
He should start, just like you said, immediately to get the debt relief out to the thousands of black farmers that desperately need it right now. And I spoke to Secretary Vilsack yesterday and urged him to hurry up and put in place the commission and to get the debt relief to not just black farmers, but farmers of color, Native American farmers, Hispanic farmers, and other socially disadvantaged farmers. He can't be the same Secretary Vilsack he was under the Obama years. He's going to have to take a more aggressive approach to help fix the culture, the discriminating culture, Reverend Sharpton, because nobody has been fired for the act of discrimination, for discriminating against me and thousands of other black farmers. Yeah. The only one I know that was fired was Shirley Sharon. She was fired the next day. We need accountability for those people who were found guilty of discriminating. Some heads need to roll so that people know that this can't be the same old United States Department of Agriculture. And Secretary Vilsack needs to make a quick announcement that USDA is open for business for blacks and other minority farmers.
All right. I'll have to leave it there, but you worked on this a long time. I've been there with you, and I'm glad to see some light in this darkness. Thank you for being here.
Okay, so that was from March 14th, 2021, MSNBC. It's actually on YouTube. Lindsey Graham insulting to farmers of color. Lindsey Graham insulting to farmers of color. That is from Politics Nation. And we'll post the link here. That was John Wesley Boyd Jr. of the National Black Farmers Association. Okay. So in this article, so he's calling for a apology, and they have the clip in this article also that I just played. John Wesley Boyd Jr. explained that the new measure rectifies a wrong for black farmers, and other farmers of color who were shut out of the farm bill programs, farm lending from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and rural development loans. Okay. All right. So check this out. Okay. Check out this article here from rawstory.com. Black farmer. Hold on. Black farmer Lindsey Graham must apologize for racist comment about subsidies kept from farmers of color for years. Okay, so this other story we'll get to tomorrow. We're out of time here. Dealing with Georgia and the continued fight for to put economic pressure on Georgia corporations to come out in opposition of HB House Bill 531 and Senate Bill 241. Okay, we talked about that on Sunday show. We'll continue that. We'll discuss that some more Tuesday. Okay, we're out of time here, and I have a lot of work to do. If you'd like this type of information, also you can support the African History Network. $, the AHN Show through Cash App. $, the AHN Show through Cash App, and also through PayPal. PayPal.me/the AHN Show. PayPal.me/the AHN Show. We're here 6 days a week. Okay. Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. On 9:10 a.m. the Superstation WFDF, and then Sundays, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight, and then Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're on 2 hours on Sunday, so we're 6 days a week. So this helps to keep us broadcasting, keep doing the research, stay on the air, pay some of the bills, etc. Also, we rebroadcast a lot of these shows throughout the day on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael M. Hotep, IMHOTEP. So follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Turn on notifications so you know when we go live. Watch the rebroadcast as well. If you want to advertise with the African History Network, email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com, customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. If you want to advertise your African American owned business with the African History Network, at the African History Network also. And be sure to register for the online course that I teach, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Class meets live Tuesdays. It's an 8-week, 16-hour online course. It's an 8-week, 16-hour online course. We do thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade happening. So if you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, it's right on the home page. And we'll show you that here. So we do the class live. All the sessions are recorded. So if you miss anything, it's not a problem. You can go back and watch it over and over again, watch from around the world. So when you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, you scroll down and it has information about my radio show. I'm broadcasting from home because due to COVID, the radio station has us broadcasting from home. But as soon as some things are somewhat back to normal, at least on Sunday nights, I'll be back in the radio station broadcasting on Sunday nights. You can listen to audio podcasts of our show. Also have over 1,000 audio podcasts. We're on 9 different audio podcast platforms, including iHeartRadio. So download the iHeartRadio app and search for the African History Network show. You can read articles that I've written as well. Click right here to read articles. There's information here about the online course that I teach. Okay. And then click right here to register. Takes you to the next page. Scroll down. Just click on enroll. As soon as you enroll, you can start watching the content. Okay. All right. Look, we had to get out of here. So anti-lynching bill. Well, the anti-lynching bill was blocked by Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky. The new anti-lynching bill they're putting inside, if I remember correctly, they're putting the anti-lynching bill, they're trying to put that into the George Floyd Police and Justice Act. I think they were trying to put the anti-lynching bill into another bill to try to get it passed. It's an uphill battle to get the George Floyd Police and Justice Act, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed. It's an uphill battle to get that bill passed. The reason why is because you're going to need 60 votes in the Senate, and you don't have 60 votes in the Senate. You barely have 50 Democrats that'll vote for it, because I'm not sure that Joe Manchin of West Virginia will vote for it. Visit workingwithjohnray.com also. Visit workingwithjohnray.com, workingwithjohnray.com. But I don't know that you have 50 Democrats who will vote for it. You have people like Joe Manchin and West Virginia and Kristen Sinema of Arizona who are moderates. But you definitely don't have 10 Republicans. So if they can't get it passed this time around in the 117th and the 118th Congress in 2 years, hopefully Democrats will maintain control of the Senate, increase the number of Democrats in the Senate, and be able to get to 60 votes. Now, if they put economic pressure on corporations who help finance some of these Republicans, that may be the only way to get 10 Republicans to vote for it. I don't see 10 Republicans voting for it. I don't. You need 60 votes in the Senate. Unless they modify the filibuster so that you only need a 51 vote majority. If they get to a 51 vote majority, then if they get 50 Democrats and Madam Vice President Kamala Harris is the tiebreaker, they may be able to get to 51 like that. But you have to modify the filibuster or do away with the filibuster. So it's an uphill battle trying to get that passed in the Senate right now with this particular makeup of the Senate. It's an uphill battle. But this is why voting matters. Okay, the rest of the stuff we'll deal with tomorrow night. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. Thanks for tuning in.
Black Bees products are a collection of natural, organic, personal care products with an appreciation of nature and bees. Our philosophy is without bees, we have nothing. We are honoring our Nile Valley ancestors who understood the importance of bees. Black Bees created a high-quality, natural, organic personal care line that would be affordable to everyone. We hope you try and enjoy our Black Bees products line and come back and visit us at blackbeesproducts.com.
With blackbusinesstee.com, the messages are clear and meaningful. Keep your business in the black and out of the red. Mind your black business, know your numbers, and plan strategically. Black Business Boss, lead your industry. Support black business, encourage, patronize, and uplift one another. blackbusinesstee.com currently has products sold in Detroit, Atlanta, Chicago, and Los Angeles, with proceeds returned to the black community. They have a wide selection of hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, hats, sweatshirts that support black-owned businesses. Visit the website blackbusinesstee.com. That's blackbusinesstee.com. Soul Natural Beauty Products offers organic, plant-based skin and hair care products that will rejuvenate skin and naturally grow and thicken hair. Their whipped shea butter can heal or restore damaged skin cells to prevent hyperpigmentation and skin breakouts. All products are made with organic plant-based ingredients. Their maximum hair growth oil is fortified with organic herbal extracts and undeniably proves that Mother Nature knows best. It thickens, lengthens, softens, and conditions all types of hair. They even guarantee hair improvement within 90 days or a full refund. Their all-natural 24-hour deodorant leaves the body smelling fresh without sweating for up to 24 hours. It does not stain fabric, goes on smoothly, and has a refreshing lavender and frankincense aroma. It can be used by men, women, and even children. Place your order today at soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. That's soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com, and follow them on Facebook at Soul Natural Beauty Products. Intuitive Design Clothing is an online accessory store that sells one-of-a-kind signature statement pieces for men and women. They also specialize in fashion consultations, closet organization, and decorating small spaces. Are you looking for a statement piece for a special affair, or would you like to add some select pieces to your ensemble of accessories? If you're looking for something different, definitely contact Kathy Norman, owner and CEO of Intuitive Design Clothing. Visit their website, intuitivedesignClothing.com. That's intuitivedesignClothing.com, and you email her at info@intuitivedesignClothing.com. Intuitive Design Clothing is where every entrance is a grand entrance. Have you tasted the world famous No Frowny Brownie yet from the Pink Bakery? If not, what are you waiting for? They are vegan, gluten-free, and free of the big 8 allergens. While eating their No Frowny brownies, the fabulous Miss Tabitha Brown said they were very good. Very good. And you know, if she says that, they are. The Pink Bakery is the first black-owned, big 8 allergen-free baking mix company. Go to thepinkbakery.com, that's thepinkbakery.com, to order their No Frowny Brownie Mix today. Yaya Rule is a line of African print-inspired apparel catered to the black community. The pieces include t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, jackets, dresses, skirts, activewear, bags, and other accessories and home decor. This brand offers a revived way for men and women to wear their black pride and honor their African heritage anywhere at any time. This apparel line is for anyone, whether you are working in the corporate world, are an entrepreneur, or an artist. Their selection will allow you to casually let your pride shine or dress it up as wanted. It is for those who have already embraced African fabrics and for those who are just getting introduced to them. Reclaim and experience a part of our culture with rich and colorful African prints. The clothing line and the accessories are